All right, get ready because we're diving deep today into the 7 habits of highly effective people.
Ah, classic.
But here's the twist.
Okay.
Our source material. It's not the book itself.
Oh.
It's this proposed video script summarizing the book.
Interesting. So we're kind of getting a behind-the-scenes look.
Exactly. And how educational content is made. Like,
Yeah.
we're peeking behind the curtain a little bit.
It is fascinating to think about.
Right. Like someone took this whole book,
Yeah.
this dense book, and condensed it into a video script, trying to make it super engaging and digestible.
And visual, I assume.
Oh, for sure. And it makes you think about what gets lost in translation.
Yeah.
When you boil something down like that.
Good point. Like, how do you simplify without oversimplifying,
Exactly.
Without losing the depth?
That's the real challenge, isn't it?
It is.
But, okay, let's start with, like, the foundation here.
The foundation?
Of the 7 habits. The power of habits.
Ah, yes. Absolutely.
I mean, remember those visuals in the script?
It's
like that person hitting the snooze button versus the one who's
up early. Yeah.
up at the crack of dawn hitting the gym.
Totally different paths.
Right. Like those small choices add up.
They really do. It's the principle of compounding growth.
Oh, like compound interest.
Exactly. You see it in finance,
right?
But it applies to personal development, too.
So those little things, those 1% improvements, they actually make a huge difference over time.
A huge difference. It's not about one big push. It's about consistency.
Okay, so small changes add up. Got it. So habit 1.
Which is?
Be proactive.
Oh, yes. A favorite.
So is this like more than just like positive thinking?
It is. It's about taking control in your life. Yeah, it's about locus of control.
Oh, like are you the driver or the passenger?
Exactly. Proactive people, they take ownership.
Even when things go wrong.
Especially when things go wrong. Instead of complaining, they ask, what can I control here?
So it's like shifting from it's not my fault to
what can I learn from this?
That's powerful.
It is.
Okay, so habit 2.
Begin with the end in mind.
Ooh, I love visualizations.
Me too.
And the script even mentions Steve Jobs.
Oh, yeah, how he envisioned the iPhone.
Like he wasn't just
dreaming vague.
Yeah, he was specific about the user experience, the design.
The clear vision.
Yeah, and that vision, it's like a blueprint.
It is. It guides your decisions, even for creative types.
It can actually enhance freedom.
Absolutely, having that clear goal.
So how do we do that?
Do what?
Begin with the end in mind. The script mentions a personal mission statement.
Yes, but it doesn't have to be this big formal thing.
Good.
Even just jotting down some core values.
Okay.
Long-term aspirations.
Like a rough draft.
Exactly. Just having something tangible to refer back to.
So it's like a compass.
A compass, guiding you through the distractions.
I like that. Which brings us to habit 3.
Put first things first, yes.
Ugh, I already feel stressed just thinking about it.
No stress, no stress. This one is all about practicality.
Okay.
I'm excited to talk about the time management matrix.
Oh boy, the matrix. I know it's useful, but sometimes it just makes me feel guilty.
About
all the time I waste.
Let's reframe that. It's not about guilt.
Okay.
It's about awareness.
So picture this grid, 4 quadrants.
Urgent and important.
Like deadlines, fires to put out.
Right, then not urgent, but important.
Long-term goals, relationship.
Exactly. You see where I'm going with this?
I think so. Like most of us are stuck in that urgent stuff.
Yes.
But the magic happens in that important but not urgent quadrant.
That's where the real growth is.
Okay, this is making me want to revamp my whole schedule.
It's powerful stuff.
Okay, but before I get carried away with to-do lists, let's talk about habit 4.
Think win-win.
I love this one. It challenges that idea that life is a zero-sum game.
Absolutely. It's about collaboration.
Like everyone can benefit.
Exactly. The script mentions Amazon.
Okay.
Their customer-first strategy.
Right, so they succeed when their customers are happy.
A perfect example of win-win.
And that applies to personal relationships, too.
Oh, absolutely. Instead of always trying to win an argument.
You look for solutions that work for both people.
It's a shift in mindset.
From scarcity to abundance.
Exactly.
It's not always easy, though.
It's not, but it's worth it.
Okay, so think win-win, even when I'm
you're
waiting in line for coffee. I like it. Okay, moving on to habit 5, all about communication.
Seek first to understand.
Then to be understood.
So crucial, especially in today's world.
Where everyone's trying to be heard.
And no one's listening.
Right, like that visual in the script, that argument.
Where no one's really listening.
We've all been there.
It's frustrating.
So how do we shift from that to real understanding?
It starts with being present. Putting aside your own thoughts, your judgments.
Wow.
And just truly listening to the other person.
To understand their perspective.
Yes, their feelings, their motivations.
It's hard, though, isn't it?
It is. It takes practice.
Like, I'm already thinking of my response sometimes.
Well, they're still talking.
Yeah.
That's so common. But when you practice active listening,
Okay.
you create space for empathy.
Okay, so it's more than just nodding and saying, uh-huh.
It's about being fully engaged.
Okay, I'm adding practice active listening to my to-do list.
It's a good one.
All right, but before I get too deep into self-improvement homework,
Yes.
let's talk habit 6, teamwork, right?
Synergize, yes.
Like the whole is greater than the sum of its parts.
Exactly. Imagine a basketball team where everyone's
Trying to be the star.
It would be chaos.
Right, but when they work together,
Leveraging each other's strengths.
that's when they win championship.
But Apple's design and engineering teams?
Right, they created the iPhone together.
Collaboration at its finest.
Okay, so how do we cultivate synergy in our own lives?
It's about embracing different perspectives.
Even when they clash with our own.
Especially when they clash. It's about listening, learning.
Seeing those differences as opportunities.
Exactly. For growth, for creativity.
All right, this is getting me pumped up about teamwork.
It's powerful stuff.
But before we start brainstorming world domination, I mean, positive change, let's talk about habit 7.
Sharpen the saw, the habit of self-renewal.
Okay, so imagine trying to cut down a tree.
With a dull saw.
Ugh, it would take forever.
It would be exhausting, ineffective.
Right, but sharpen that saw.
And the work becomes effortless.
It's the same with our well-being, isn't it?
It is. You can't pour from an empty cup.
So true.
It's about taking care of yourself. Physically, mentally.
Emotional, spiritually.
Yes, so you can show up as your best self.
So it's not selfish.
It's essential.
Okay, so we've got physical health, mental stimulation,
emotional connection,
and a sense of purpose.
When you nurture all of those,
you create a foundation for effectiveness, for happiness.
For fulfilling life.
Okay, this is making me want to schedule a massage, read a book, call my best friend, volunteer, everything.
It doesn't have to be all at once.
Right.
It's about small, consistent actions.
Like 15 minutes of meditation.
A walk in nature.
Little pockets of time to recharge.
And when you prioritize self-care, you actually become more productive.
It's a win-win.
It is.
So we've covered a lot here. The power of habits.
Being proactive, having a vision.
Prioritizing, thinking win-win.
Communicating with empathy, synergize.
And sharpening the saw. A lot.
But they're all interconnected, aren't they?
Like pieces of a puzzle.
Forming a complete picture.
Just like a blueprint for a better life.
It is.
But with all this focus on effectiveness,
yeah,
are we missing something deeper? Like, can you be effective?
You're asking the big questions now.
Well, can you be effective without connecting with your purpose, your values?
That's a great question.
It's something to think about, isn't it?
It is, and I think it's something we should explore further as we continue this dive.
Because ultimately, effectiveness is not just about achieving external goals.
Right.
It's about living in alignment with who you truly are.
With your authentic self.
Exactly. And that's where things start to get really interesting.
I do.
Okay, so the 7 habits, they're more than just a self-help framework. They're a philosophy.
A philosophy for living a more intentional life.
I like that. A more purposeful life.
And that's a journey worth taking.
I couldn't agree more.
You know, it's interesting thinking about that video script. And how it presents these ideas visually.
Oh, yeah, good point.
Like those contracting images.
Oh, yeah, like the person hitting snooze.
Oh, versus the early riser.
It makes it so much more impactful.
Our brains are wired for visuals.
They are.
Think about the time management matrix.
Oh, yeah.
Those 4 quadrants.
It helps you actually apply the concept.
Not just understand it theoretically.
It's like the difference between reading a recipe
and watching a cooking show.
Yeah. You get the gist from the text.
But seeing it all come together.
It makes it real.
And the script even suggests using animations,
okay,
humor, case studies.
To make even more engaging.
To make those ideas stick.
Which makes me wonder, though.
What's that?
Is it like different mediums?
For different learning styles.
Yeah. Some people might prefer the book.
While others connect more with the video.
It's fascinating, isn't it?
It is. It speaks to how learning itself is evolving.
I mean, in today's world,
we're bombarded with information.
All the time.
So it's natural to gravitate towards content that's
like short and sweet?
Concise, engaging, visually appealing.
Right. Like we're all looking for those mental shortcuts.
I mean, think about it.
Yeah.
Would you rather read a 300-page book?
Or watch a 20-minute video?
Sometimes the video is just more practical.
But does that make us lazy?
Intellectually lazy? I don't think so.
Okay.
It's about recognizing that different formats serve different purposes.
Like the video could be a starting point.
Exactly. How might spark someone's interest.
And then they go and read the book.
It's a gateway, not a replacement.
Okay, I like that. Like getting a taste of the appetizer.
And then deciding if you want the whole meal.
Okay, but speaking of the whole meal.
Yeah.
Aren't these 7 habits kind of obvious?
Obvious.
I mean, they're based on common sense, right?
Well, I think that's part of their appeal.
Okay.
They're timeless principles, but Covey presents them
In the way that's
practical, actionable. He breaks them down into steps.
not just abstract philosophy.
Exactly. It's a roadmap for personal change.
And he uses real-life examples.
Stories that people can connect with.
It makes it feel achievable.
Exactly. Like anyone can do this.
So it's empowering.
It is. You don't need to be a superhero to live a good life.
You just need to cultivate these habits.
One day at a time.
I like that.
And that message, it resonates with everyone.
Students, CEOs.
Everyone.
Because personal growth is a universal journey.
It is.
Okay, so thinking back to that opening scene.
In the video script.
Yeah, that person who's feeling overwhelmed.
Stressed, stuck.
What's the biggest takeaway for them?
Hope, I think.
Hope.
That they have the power to change.
To change their circumstance.
To create a better life. It's not about waiting.
It's about taking action.
Making those small choices.
Those 1% improvements.
That add up over time.
So it's not about some massive overnight transformation.
No, it's about those incremental steps.
Becoming the architect of your own life.
Exactly.
And the 7 habits, they provide the blueprint.
They do.
I'm curious, though. The script encourages viewers to pick one habit to focus on.
Right, to start with.
But is it really that simple?
You mean, can you just choose one and expect...
Like massive changes?
I think it depends on the individual, their situation.
Like some habits might be more relevant?
Depending on where you are in your journey.
Right, like if you're feeling overwhelmed.
Maybe it's habit 3, put first things first.
That time management one.
But if you're struggling with relationships...
Maybe it's habit 5, seeking to understand others.
Exactly. It's about identifying the area where you need the most growth.
Yeah. And focusing your energy there.
But I also think the real power comes from integrating all 7 habits.
Into your life.
Yes, creating a holistic approach.
So it's not just a pick and choose menu.
It's about weaving them into the fabric of your daily life.
I like that. Creating a tapestry of positive change.
It's a journey, not a destination.
So true. Okay, I have to ask.
What's that?
What's your favorite habit?
Oh, that's a tough one.
Is it like choosing a favorite child?
It is a bit. But if I had to choose,
okay,
I think I'd go with habit 2.
Begin with the end in mind. Interesting choice. Why that one?
Because it all starts with vision.
Okay.
Without that clear sense of where you're going,
yeah,
it's easy to get lost in the day-to-day.
To just react to things.
Instead of creating the life you want.
It's like having that compass.
Guiding you through the storms.
I like that. So you don't need some big elaborate plan.
No, just identify your core values.
Your long-term goals.
What kind of person you want to be.
Write it down.
Keep it top of mind.
Because every choice you make
is either moving you towards that vision
or away from it.
Exactly.
So it's about making conscious choices
aligned with your values,
with your aspiration,
creating a life that feels authentic.
This is making me realize that these habits are about more than just productivity.
For success.
It's about living a life of meaning.
Of purpose.
Becoming the best version of yourself.
Absolutely.
You know, as we're talking, I'm struck by something.
What's that?
This video script?
Yeah.
It's just a summary.
Covey's book?
Yeah, like what nuances are we missing?
That's a great point.
By just focusing on the summary.
Anytime you condense a complex work,
you lose some of the depth.
Some of the nuance.
So it's like a starting point.
A gateway.
To deeper exploration.
Exactly.
We don't want to give the impression that
watching a video is all it takes.
Yeah, to master these habits.
It's about sparking interest.
Planting seeds.
Encouraging people to dig deeper.
To explore the book.
Grapple with these ideas.
It's a lifelong journey.
It is.
Speaking of deeper exploration.
Yeah.
I was thinking about habit 5.
Seek first to understand.
Is there a connection between that and empathy?
Absolutely. Empathy is at the heart of habit 5.
It's about putting yourself in the other person's shoes.
Trying to see the world from their perspective.
Understanding their feelings.
Even if you don't agree with them.
It's about listening to understand.
Not just to respond.
That takes emotional intelligence.
It does. Being aware of your own emotion.
And the emotions of others.
And being able to regulate those emotions.
So you can communicate effectively.
Exactly.
So empathy is not just about feeling what others feel.
It's about understanding those feelings.
And responding compassionately.
And constructively.
That's hard.
It takes practice.
But when we approach conversations with empathy,
we create connection.
Understanding.
It's a foundation for strong relationships.
For effective communication.
For a more harmonious world.
I like that. You know, it's interesting to think about how these habits apply in different contexts.
Like the workplace.
Yeah. Imagine a team.
where everyone's practicing these habits.
They'll be unstoppable.
Proactive, goal-oriented.
Collaborative.
Always looking for win-win solutions.
Taking care of themselves.
It's a recipe for success.
It really is.
And it's not just for businesses.
Right. Think about families.
Communities, society as a whole.
If we could all embrace these habits,
the world would be a different place.
it's a beautiful vision.
It is. And it starts with each of us.
Choosing to embrace these habits.
To live intentionally.
To make a difference.
Beautifully said. You know, something struck me.
About
habit 6. Synergize.
that emphasis on collaboration.
It makes me think about diversity.
Diversity.
Of thought, of perspective.
Of experience.
When you bring people together from different backgrounds,
with different skills.
you get a much richer outcome.
Like adding different spices to a dish.
It enhances the flavor.
Exactly, that's synergy. Leveraging those differences.
To create something new.
And it's not just about tolerating those differences.
It's about celebrating them.
Because they make us stronger.
More resilient.
More creative.
It's the beauty of humanity.
And it makes me think about the challenges we face.
As a society.
The divisions.
The polarization.
What if we could approach those challenges with synergy?
With a spirit of collaboration.
Seeing those differences as opportunity.
For growth.
For innovation.
What if we could seek first to understand?
Then to be understood.
Work together.
To create a better future.
It's a powerful vision.
It is. And I believe it's possible.
I do too.
It starts with each of us.
Making that choice.
To embrace these habits.
To live with purpose.
To create a ripple effect.
Of positivity and change.
Beautifully said. You know, I was thinking about that question.
About choosing one habit.
Yeah. Which one would you choose?
That's a good one. Let me think.
Okay.
I think I'd go with habit 7.
Sharpen the saw. Interesting. Why that one?
Because we can't pour from an empty cup.
So true.
We have to take care of ourselves.
To be effective in any area of life.
Physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually.
It's easy to get caught up in the busyness.
And neglect our own well-being.
We have to make time for self-care.
For our renewal.
For growth.
In our happiness.
And our effectiveness.
And it allows us to show up for others.
Exactly.
You know, this conversation is really made me think about the power of these habits.
They're simple, yet profound.
They're not just about success.
Or productivity.
They're about living a life of meaning.
Of purpose.
Becoming the best version of ourselves.
Making a positive impact.
And it all starts with those small choices.
One habit at a time.
Okay, so we've talked about vision, self-care.
Collaboration.
There's one more habit I want to touch on.
Before we wrap up.
Yeah.
Which one is that?
Habit 4. Think win-win.
Ah, yes. That's a good one.
It's so relevant today.
In a world that feels so competitive, so focused on scarcity.
We're told we need to be better than everyone else.
To win at all costs.
It creates a mentality of fear.
Of scarcity.
Leading to conflict.
To division.
To a sense of emptiness.
But what if we could shift that mentality?
To one of abundance.
To collaboration.
Seeing the success of others as our own success.
Celebrating each other's achievements.
Supporting each other's growth.
Working together.
To create a world where everyone wins.
It's a powerful vision.
It is. And it starts with believing
that there's enough for everyone.
That we can all succeed together.
That cooperation is more powerful
than competition.
And that win-win solutions are possible.
It's a paradigm shift.
It is. And our world needs it.
Desperately.
Thinking about this habit.
Yeah.
It's not just about negotiating.
Or resolving conflicts.
It's a way of being in the world.
Approaching life with an generosity.
With collaboration.
Seeing the interconnectedness of everything.
Believing that we're all in this together.
Beautifully said.
These 7 habits.
They're more than just tools.
They're a philosophy.
A guide to living a more meaningful life.
A more fulfilling life.
A more impactful life.
And that's something we can all aspire to.
Regardless of our background.
Our beliefs.
Our circumstances.
These habits offer a path.
Have personal growth.
And collective transformation.
That's a powerful message.
It is.
You know, this has been...
This deep dive.
Yeah, it's been incredibly insightful.
It has. I'm feeling inspired.
To put these habits into practice.
Me too.
And I hope our listeners are feeling the same.
I think they are. So as we wrap up,
I
want to leave our listeners with one thought.
Okay.
The 7 habits. They're not a magic bullet.
They require effort.
Commitment.
Consistency.
They rewards.
They're worth it.
They offer a path to a better life.
To a more effective life.
To a more meaningful life.
It's a journey worth taking.
So to our listeners, I encourage you
to
choose one habit
that resonates with you.
And start practicing it today.
One small step at a time.
And watch those small steps
lead to big transformations.
You won't regret it. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive
into the 7 habits.
It's been a pleasure.
It has.
Until next time.
Keep learning.
Keep growing.
And keep striving.
To be your best self.
And remember, the power to change your life.
It's within you.
It is.
So go out there and make it happen.
We believe in you.
All right. So before we wrap things up, one final question for you.
Okay, shoot.
And for our listeners too.
Right.
If you could only pick one of these habits.
Just one.
To focus on for the next week.
Okay.
Which one would have the biggest impact on your life right now?
That's a great question. It really depends on...
On what?
on what you're struggling with, what your goals are.
Like, it's not about which habit is best overall.
Right. It's about what's most relevant to you right now.
It's like choosing the right tool for the job.
Exactly. If you're feeling overwhelmed, maybe it's habit 3.
Put first things first.
Time management.
But if it's relationships you're struggling with?
Then maybe it's habit 5.
Seeking to understand others.
Right. Or maybe you're just exhausted.
Third out.
Then habit 7, sharpen the saw, self-care.
It's like each habit gives you a different superpower.
I like that.
And you get to choose which way to activate.
Based on what you need most right now.
Exactly. So think about it.
As you go about your week.
Which habit calls to you the loudest?
Which one feels most aligned with your goals?
Don't underestimate the power of those small changes.
Those 1% improvements.
They really do add up.
It's like planting a seed.
That grows into something amazing.
And that brings us to the end of our deep dive.
Into the 7 habits.
It's been a fascinating journey.
It really has. We hope you found it insightful.
Maybe even inspiring.
And most importantly,
that it's empowered you to take action.
Because the journey to becoming your best self,
it starts today.
One habit, one choice.
One small step at a time.
So until next time,
stay curious.
Stay engaged.
And keep diving deep.